When a Hollywood superstar walks into a room, you expect chaos, screaming fans, and total pandemonium. But Henry Cavill? He's rewritten the rulebook on celebrity surprises. From sneaking into Comic-Con undetected to leaving his co-stars starstruck, Cavill has mastered the art of the unexpected. Today we're diving into the most unforgettable moments when Henry Cavill caught his biggest fans completely off guard. And trust us, these reactions are absolutely priceless. The Comic-Con undercover mission. Here we go, going to head onto the floor and see if I can get away with it. Wish me luck. Those were Henry Cavill's words before attempting one of the boldest social experiments in Comic-Con history. In 2016, during the height of Batman v Superman fever, Cavill decided to test the legendary Clark Kent theory. Can a simple disguise really make Superman invisible? Armed with nothing but a Superman t-shirt and a baseball cap, Cavill walked straight into the San Diego Comic-Con crowd, one of the most superhero-obsessed gatherings on the planet. What happened next shocked everyone. Thousands of fans walked right past him. People took selfies in front of Batman v Superman posters while the actual Superman stood inches away. Some fans even wore Superman merchandise without realizing the man himself was standing beside them. The experiment proved what comic book writers have been telling us for decades. Sometimes the best disguise is hiding in plain sight. Nobody expects their heroes to be walking among them like ordinary people. The Suicide Squad ambush. But Cavill's Comic-Con adventure didn't end there. After successfully blending into the crowd, he made his way to the Warner Brothers panel where the Suicide Squad cast was holding court. What happened next became instant Comic-Con legend. Without any announcement, Henry Cavill casually walked onto the stage during the Suicide Squad panel, catching Will Smith and the entire cast completely off guard. The place erupted. Will Smith's face said it all, pure disbelief mixed with respect. Here was Superman, crashing the villain's party like he owned the place. The entire Suicide Squad cast swarmed him, and what followed was one of the most spontaneous and hilarious crossover moments in Comic-Con history. Cameras captured cast members literally jumping on Cavill, turning what was supposed to be a Suicide Squad exclusive into an impromptu DC Universe celebration. The moment perfectly captured what makes Cavill so beloved. He doesn't take himself too seriously, and he knows how to have fun with his fans. The Times Square invisibility experiment. After proving the Clark Kent disguise works at Comic-Con, Cavill decided to take the experiment even further. This time, the location was Times Square, one of the busiest, most photographed locations on Earth. Standing directly beneath a massive billboard advertising his new film, Cavill positioned himself in the middle of the tourist crowd. No disguise, no hat, no glasses, just Henry Cavill in plain clothes standing under his own giant poster. For several minutes, hundreds of people walked right past him. Tourists took photos of the billboard above, while Cavill stood below, completely ignored. Some people even glanced at him briefly before moving on, never making the connection between the face on the billboard and the man standing beneath it. The video went viral, leaving fans amazed and slightly disturbed. How could Superman himself stand in Times Square unnoticed? The answer reveals something fascinating about celebrity culture. Context is everything. Remove someone from their expected environment, and even the most famous face becomes just another person in the crowd. The emotional Asian fan encounter. Not to worry, because Cavill knows exactly where his true fans are. During an Argyle press event in Asia, Cavill approached one of his most devoted supporters who had been waiting for hours just to catch a glimpse of him. What happened next shows why Cavill's fans are so incredibly loyal. As Cavill walked up to the fan, the person's entire body froze in shock. Their hands started shaking, their eyes welled up with tears, and for a moment it looked like they might actually faint. Cavill, ever the gentleman, immediately moved in for a warm embrace, steadying the overwhelmed fan and making sure they were okay. The genuine reaction was so powerful that even Cavill seemed momentarily emotional. This wasn't staged for cameras or scripted for promotion. This was a real moment between an actor and someone whose life he'd touched through his work. Cavill stayed with the fan, took photos, signed autographs, and made sure they felt valued. It's moments like these that separate true class acts from celebrities who just go through the motions. The Simu Liu restaurant surprise. Turns out Henry doesn't just save the surprises for fans. Even his fellow superheroes get blindsided. Simu Liu, who plays Shang-Chi in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, shared an incredible story about meeting Cavill that perfectly captures the actor's character. Liu spotted Cavill at a restaurant and, despite his nerves, decided to introduce himself. Walking up to the table, Liu awkwardly said, "I don't know if you know who I am, but I'm a huge fan." What happened next wasn't just polite, it was legendary. Cavill immediately stood up, wrapped Liu in a bear hug, and said, "Dude, of course I know who you are." But Cavill didn't stop there. He came over to Liu's table, introduced himself to all of Liu's friends, and spent time genuinely connecting with the group. When Liu later asked for the check, the waiter delivered the surprise. "Mr. Cavill is taking care of your bill." Liu was stunned. Here was one of Hollywood's biggest stars, not only treating a fellow actor with respect, but literally paying for his dinner. Later, Liu showed off a signed shirt like a trophy, joking that Cavill was his co-worker. It's the kind of class move that money can't buy and PR teams can't manufacture. The supermodel's starstruck moment. If men lose their cool over Cavill, what hope do women have? Even Irina Shayk, a world-famous supermodel who's dated some of the biggest celebrities on the planet, couldn't maintain her composure around him. At the 2018 GQ Awards, Shayk was presenting an award when she suddenly had to share the stage with Cavill, who appeared as Sherlock Holmes. The moment Cavill walked out, Shayk's professional demeanor completely crumbled. Her voice wavered, she stumbled over her words, and she kept glancing at him with barely concealed admiration. At one point, she had to physically turn away from him just to finish reading her lines. The audience noticed, the cameras caught it, and Shayk's reaction became one of the night's most talked about moments. What made it even more entertaining was Cavill's response, or lack thereof. He remained completely professional, gracious, and seemingly oblivious to the effect he was having, which only made the whole situation more charming. The West Hollywood fan meltdown. When Henry took some fans by surprise in West Hollywood, the scene looked less like a celebrity encounter and more like an emotional support session. As Cavill approached a group of fans who had been waiting outside an event, their reactions escalated from excitement to full-blown emotional breakdowns. One fan started crying uncontrollably the moment Cavill made eye contact. Another was shaking so badly they could barely hold their phone to take a picture. The girlies were slipping right into absolute panic mode, with some literally unable to form coherent sentences. But here's where Cavill's true character shines. Instead of rushing through for a quick photo op, he stopped, made sure everyone was okay, and stayed until every single person had calmed down enough to actually enjoy the moment. He cracked jokes, gave long hugs, and treated each person like they were the only one there. At one point, someone in his team tried to move things along, but Cavill waved them off, refusing to leave until his fans were satisfied. This is the Henry Cavill difference. He understands that for these fans, this might be a once-in-a-lifetime moment, and he refuses to treat it casually. The pregnancy announcement that broke the internet. But despite everything, Cavill finally got himself a lady. When he walked out with her on his arm, his entire fandom had a massive meltdown. And the wild part? Nobody was freaking out that he had a girlfriend. I mean, of course the Man of Steel can pull anyone he wants. That was never in question. It was that she looked pregnant. The photos showed Cavill and his longtime girlfriend Natalie Viscuso at a public event, and Natalie's visible baby bump sent the internet into overdrive. Fans absolutely lost it over the announcement, or rather, the complete lack of formal announcement. True to form, Cavill didn't make a big press release or stage a magazine photo shoot. He just showed up living his life with his growing family. As of 2025, Superman is officially a girl dad, and honestly, nobody doubts he'll absolutely crush fatherhood. The guy's been practicing for years through Make-A-Wish visits, surprising kids at hospitals, and kneeling on sidewalks in full costume to interact with young fans. Talk about a man of steel with a heart of gold. The Korean fan frenzy. Remember that guy almost crying when meeting Cavill at the Argyle event? Well, something similar, but even more intense, happened when Henry visited Korea to promote Mission Impossible Fallout. The moment Cavill stepped onto the stage at the Korean press conference, the room erupted in screams that drowned out everything else. And here's the kicker, Tom Cruise was sitting right next to him. Tom Cruise, one of the biggest movie stars in history, was completely overshadowed. While Cruise sat there smiling politely, every camera, every question, and every scream was directed at Cavill. Korean fans were chanting his name, holding up signs, and some were visibly crying just from being in the same room. At one point during the press conference, the crowd's reaction to Cavill became so loud that Cruise himself started laughing and pointed at Henry as if to say, "This is your show now." The Korean media coverage the next day focused almost entirely on Cavill's appearance, with headlines celebrating his visit like a royal had come to town. It's this kind of international adoration that proves Cavill's appeal transcends borders, languages, and cultures. The Witcher goodbye that broke hearts. Henry Cavill has built his Geralt of Rivia image on being tough, unshakable, and fiercely loyal to the source material. That's exactly why fans respected him so much. But during Netflix's Tudum event announcing The Witcher's future, Cavill let his guard down in a way nobody expected. Standing with his Witcher crew on stage, he made a rare, surprisingly emotional admission to his cast members, and you could feel millions of fans in the crowd cracking right along with him. "I just want to say I'm going to miss you. I'm going to miss you very much," Cavill said, his voice catching slightly. The moment hit hard because everyone knew what it meant. Cavill was leaving The Witcher after season 3. For fans who had watched him bring Geralt to life with such passion and authenticity, hearing him struggle to say goodbye felt like losing a friend. The announcement sparked massive online discussions about why he was leaving, with many believing he departed due to creative differences about honoring the source material. Regardless of the reasons, this vulnerable moment showed that beneath the superhero exterior, Cavill cares deeply about the characters he plays and the fans who support him. The Superman vs. Batman kids debate. When Henry's not being vulnerable, Clark Kent loves to settle comic book debates. Remember when the world went up in riots arguing over Superman versus Batman? Cavill joined the conversation, but in the most wholesome way possible. He visited the Durrell Wildlife Park to ask children for their votes on the ultimate superhero showdown. Obviously, he was looking for Superman supporters, and most kids delivered, but then came one legendary child who had already embraced his villain origin story. When Cavill asked, "Superman or Batman?" most kids enthusiastically shouted Superman, but one kid calmly replied, "Well, I kind of like the villain." Cavill's face was priceless, a mix of surprise, amusement, and respect. He gave the kid a high five and moved on, but you could tell he was genuinely impressed by the kid's confidence. The moment perfectly captured Cavill's appeal. He's comfortable enough in his Superman legacy to appreciate when someone challenges it, and he treats even the youngest fans with genuine respect and interest. Okay, so we saw a lot of Superman in this video, but who's your favorite superhero? Henry Cavill has proven time and again that he's not just playing heroes on screen, he lives the values those characters represent. From surprise Comic-Con appearances to paying for fellow actors' meals, from emotional fan encounters to defending his nephew's honor, Cavill has redefined what it means to be a Hollywood superstar. Drop your answers in the comments below, and as always, share this with a friend and subscribe for more incredible celebrity moments. Because in a world of manufactured celebrity personas, Henry Cavill stands out as the real deal, a genuine hero both on screen and off.